So I met Pesh through being a social worker making referrals to the service. So for me to be able to send families down without filling in a big referral form and, you know, the big process of sending them down and for them to walk away with food that they've actually been able to choose rather than just be given whether they like it or not was like unbelievable. Everyone in our office was like, what? Well, it's too good to be true. And then to find out that, you know, there was a few that they could go to. Just unprecedented in our service. So I've become good friends with Pesh. He puts up with me. I say to him, I'm coming round at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I turn up at 20 to 9, and you can see him there like cat on hot bricks. And I unload whatever I've got for him, and I always seem to drive away with much more than what I've bought. So I can't see out my back window. But apart from Pesh and his lovely wife and his family that put up with everything that goes with charity work, and I understand that completely, I just want to talk about the volunteers, because as a charity worker, I understand that some days you're just not feeling it. You know, you don't want to get up, you don't want to get out there. You know, it's just for some reason you just don't fancy it. But let me tell you that when I took time off to go round to the food banks and stand in the queues and talk to people, the stories that came back was just amazing, because we know what goes on inside. You know, you're just incredible inside, those frontline workers. But maybe some of you don't realise what's going on in that queue, outside that door. And the stories that I heard were just humbling, and it all just reflected back to the volunteers and to Pesh. You know, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a man that I said to, I just went along the queue, and I was like, what does 3food4u mean? And he said, it means I'm not going to die young. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because I had £5 a week to live on, and all I could afford was battered or breaded food, everything high in fat. You know, those sort of things don't sort of enter your mind, does it? You know, there's a man out there that's so pleased that he can eat fresh produce and not have to eat all this fat, you know, that we're told is so bad for us, but he had no choice. But now he does have a choice. We've got the man that turns up at Christmas, and he said, I don't need any food on the day, they've given me so much the week before. But I haven't seen anyone on Christmas Day for years and years, and I walk in and someone says to me, Happy Christmas. That's down to you. We've got the man that's so qualified, got degrees coming out of his ears, but can't get a job because he's overqualified. And we always think of people that, you know, are using food banks because they haven't got any qualifications. Well, this man was overqualified. No one would employ him. So, you know, he was very bitter, very twisted about the community. But you turn that around because he now knows that there's people that care for him, that worry about his well-being, that ask him how he is when he walks in. There was a lady in the queue, and I said, I know you. And I was saying to her, I can't think where I know you from. And it was actually a lady that I supported. And I can remember doing a home visit, and she was in a mansion. She had a swimming pool, all the fast cars on the drive. And you know, you go around there as a social worker thinking, what could possibly be wrong here? She was in that queue at Waltham Abbey because her husband used to beat her and rape her on a weekly basis. She was crying. She didn't want to walk into that food bank. She was very humbled. She was the person that gave it, not the one to take it. But one of your volunteers come out. I was quite pleased because she gave us a load of sweets. And I was in that queue. I think I'm still eating them today. That was months ago. So, you know, she was befriending those children, causing a distraction to get that mum through the door. And that mum come through the door, and the first thing someone said, what's your name? That made her real. That made her valued. That made her a person. That is down to you. There was a man that lived on a loaf of bread a week. Can't believe it, can you? A lady that fed her kid pasta and tomato sauce. Not lasagna sauce, not, you know, pesto, tomato ketchup.